so joined in New South Wales by accident. We'd moved, we bought a little business in Central Coast, Toukley, and it was going broke. It's like, what do you do? How do you put a New Zealander in a small business? Put him in a big business and wait a while? Anyway, and what happened one day, I was driving school buses and I was going back to Sydney to work in an insurance brokerage and everything. We were really in a bad way. And a job came up for Wyong Council for a financial clerk thing to look after their investments and money market and everything else. I was lucky. I'd actually started at Mitchell College doing my degree, so that helped me in the door there. And away I went. So 2 years at Wyong and a year at Berrigan and a year at Coolar. So it's 4 years. And then a friend of mine was at Capella, and he said, "Oh, we need a deputy shire clerk, and I want you to come up." And I said, "Where the hell is Capella?" So get the map out, and I said, "Oh, we had two little girls, both preschool, I think. Yeah, both. Neither of them started school, and so we went for a drive to Capella." And we thought, oh, maybe, and he talked hard, and the council said yes. So, well, it's between Emerald and Claremont, west of Rocky, but halfway between Rocky and Longreach. So rural, rural, remote, exactly. And I stayed there 18 years.
So did you progress from deputy to...
Yeah, deputy shire clerk to CEO, right through. So yeah, and the girls.
Did you say 18 years?
18 years.
Wow.
Oh, that's long. That's too long. And I stayed too long. We realise now that I should have. I made a couple of attempts to get out, but I don't know what I was doing wrong. I mean, I probably should have tried harder, But very comfortable there, and well, not paid a fortune, but council house, council car, everything else.
Yeah.
And little town of about 900, and it was about 2.5, 3 hours drive to Rocky or Mackay, take your pick.
Okay,
So it wasn't too bad, that's right. And Emerald Airport to Brisbane, so air access. And but eventually what happened was, I think the council, 2004, there was sort of whispers of this, what was going to happen, the amalgamation, everything else. Size, shape, sustainability might have happened, so we were on contracts by that stage, and the mayor said to me, "Oh, we're not going to automatically renew your contract, we're going to call for..." They were worried about my deputy, had a fantastic deputy, and so we said, we had 6 months, from the time when the council decided not to renew the contract to when it ran out, so it was 6 months to get organised. In that time we bought this house, we got ourselves organised and we cleared out. So you retired 2004, June 2004, But the interesting thing was that immediately my whole life changed. The phone started ringing, and I spent the next, it'll be 8 years here, I suppose. And I went to Arakoon, Richmond, Fitzroy River, Water and Rocky, Biggenden, Mergen, South Manette, Isaac, Burketown, Barking.
So you had 18 years of continuity.
I know! Is that crazy? 18 years. But it was very stable, it was very organised. We had good people, we had good systems. We handled the change from cash accounting to accrual accounting, and we handled all the changes in the Act, and we had coal mining. We had 7 coal mines, so we had plenty of money to have an environmental health officer and building inspectors and planning people, and so we weren't shy of anything, But unfortunately, we had the coal mines and the money. Emerald had the people.
Yes.
There was a conflict there straight away, and there was a lot of hostility or a lot of animosity between us and Emerald, which would have all filtered down to Brisbane to the minister and everything else. And we used to laugh about it with them, but they'd say, "You people are peak downs, you're ripping the mining companies off, you're building magnificent swimming pools and conference centres and everything else, and you've got a little town of 900 people plus Thierry. Thierry was the mine town, so we didn't have to really worry about that, you know. Yeah, so things were, in that respect, it wasn't, I won't say it wasn't the most challenging job, but it was probably got in a bit of a rut, you know. So the council did me a favour. So immediately, I think I finished in June, and about a month and a half later I was in Arakoon, and that was a real wake up.
Yeah, Aboriginal communities.
Yeah, not long there. Richmond, I relieved the CEO at Richmond for about a year, I suppose.
When was Richmond?
Richmond's halfway exactly between Townsville and Mount Isa.
Okay, yep,
But
still up
it's
north.
very remote and isolated. Well, not as much far as Burketown is, but it's a little country town. Lovely people. It didn't get affected by the amalgamations. They kept their identity. They've got a funny mayor there, John Wharton is the, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a bit of a character. So that was good. But on my own, Jeanette, once we came back from Capella, she never came with me anywhere. So, and I didn't. Well, the girls were starting to, you know, grow up and everything was happening. So, and I could have sat here, or I could have kept doing these other jobs, which I enjoyed. So, all of these places I was on my own, but it was good. Plenty of trips home and everything else. Nice little accommodation units for me, and they look after their CEOs if they like it. So that was all good.
What were your time frames? So you from 2004.
Arakoon was only about a couple of months.
Okay.
I don't know whether you need to know this, but I was at Arakoon and I got a phone call from John Scarce at Richmond, and he said, "Would you like to come and relieve me for a year?" And I said, "Oh yeah." When I found out where Richmond was, I said, "Oh yeah, that's a job. Yeah, sounds good to me." But on Melbourne Cup Day in November 2004, we were at my sister and brother-in-law's yacht down on Stradbroke Island, went to the beach, dived in and hit my head on a sandbar and nearly became a paraplegic. I know.
Gosh, that's a wake-up call.
Oh, it was. They picked me up, put me in a helicopter, took me to PA. I was in a head brace for about 2 months, and 3 vertebrae, I think, were damaged, but came back. So, but not only that, I was in the water. The beach was closed, so idiot features is in the water, you know, with the beach closed. But there was a nurse and her boyfriend on the beach who came and did CPR because my brother-in-law and Jeanette I was just lying there, bucket, you know. And so it was frightening. Well, so anyway, that sort of put a bit of that held things up for a little while. So I was a bit late starting at Richmond, but eventually got there. And then Ian Stevenson gave us a call and said, "Oh, we need an engineering services manager at Fitzroy River Water." And we knew Rocky well, having, you know, our 2 daughters went through CQU, so we spent a lot of time in Rockhampton. And all right, what do you want? I said, "I'm not an engineer." He said, no, we don't want an engineer. We just want someone to sit in the chair. We've got these 20 big-headed engineers who think they know everything, and we just want somebody to sit there and tell them, you know, arrange meetings and be like the figurehead bloke sort of thing. So I spent about 6 months there. Mm-hmm. That was interesting in that Livingston butted right up against Rocky City Council, and I had a big drama with the CEO of Livingston over a parcel of land where we were going to build a shed. The boundary ran right through the middle. The drama, and Livingston wanted an arm and a leg for it. And then I thought, the amalgamations came along, all solved. But now, then they de-amalgamate. But I'm long gone.
Yeah.
That was an example of the problems, the problems overcome by amalgamations, but then of course we never learn, do we? So, but still, so that was very interesting. Engineers, water engineers, most of them fair age, some new Australians. I had 3 separate managers under me for 3 different areas, and having to sometimes keep them apart, and we had to pack our little bag and go across to City Hall in the middle of Rocky and go to the meetings and try and act with a bit of credibility. That was all fun, you know. So that was that. Had enough there, so went home. But then Biggenden came along, and I've got highlight stories. Biggenden is probably the place where you could talk for hours about. Biggenden was a small. Do you know where Biggenden is?
Is it?
North Burnett.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of Ban Springs, and you turn off, and Gayndah is now the headquarters. But Biggenden was one of 6 that was into that amalgamation, you know. But when I went to Biggenden, they'd been, poor old Betty Johnson, the mayor, had been rolling over CEOs continuously almost. And, so it was a bit of a challenge, but I had the interview and, you got the job. So started there and suddenly realised that I'd stepped back about 10 years at least. She ran it like a fiefdom, you know. She was an older woman. She'd worked in the office all her life, worked her way up, never actually became chief clerk, so a little bit bitter about that. But then what happened, retired, and she's 65 or something, 70, retired, immediately stood for mayor, got the job, so became mayor. First thing she did was sack the existing CEO, and then she went through a few. There was the lady before me, what was her name? Anyway, they had a massive falling out. She was a lovely lady. I actually hired her in Kingaroy later on as an accountant. Doesn't matter. And so Betty and I started on together, and I think that was very interesting. But one day I decided, no, this is no good. So I resigned.
So is this 2012?
No. We've got a long way to go yet.
Oh.
I'm not sure whether we need any stories from Biggenden, but there are many stories from Biggenden which fascinate some people. So went home again, and then Mergen came up. Now, Mergen, big interview, hour and a half interview, the whole council plus about 3 management consultants, everyone else, hour and a half. On the way home, the phone rang and the mayor said, "We'd like to offer you the job." And then I found out later I was the only applicant. What? You put me through all this? And I'm the only applicant. Anyway, we wanted to make sure, and, you know, the questions. Then I started, and of course I found out immediately that they were broke. The meatworks had closed. Poor old Mergen had no rate base, really, had a small rural rate base. And the town of Mergen, all the infrastructure was falling to bits. They desperately needed a lot of money, and they had no money. The government, of course, wasn't going to pour a lot of money into Mergen. So Peter Angel, the mayor, and we got along very well there. But we had a lot of problems with people in the town. We were trying to sell a lot of the council infrastructure, buildings and different stuff. And we had the whole town against us, and they held us responsible for all of Mergen's problems. The Bajilki-Peterson Dam came down to 3% capacity, and so the town's water ran out, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. And when we were involved in the size, shape, sustainability, at that stage, our group was what became South Burnett, so it was fairly predictable, you know. And we go along to these meetings, and like you said, you'd sit there, and I remember our consultant or our person was a university lecturer or something, and he took it very seriously, and we'd go to this.
What's his name? Beardy man, what's his name?
Yeah.
John, gosh, got a little blank, I'll think of it in a minute. John, we use him sometimes. Goes around a lot of the local government.
Yeah, well, he would have been appointed by the government to help us.
Yeah.
And he used to run the meetings. Yeah,
Professor John Martin.
Oh, John Martin. Oh, it could have been. It could have been. He used
You
to.
would have seen a lot of LGMA.
Yeah, I remember he came out to Kilkeven one day, and we had a good old shouting match there and all sorts of stuff. And anyway, one day Peter Angel and I got an invite from Peter Beattie to go to South Bank, and we get there, and of course there's all these other mayors and CEOs. Hey, going good, going all right. So we sit down, and out comes Peter and whoever the Minister for Local Government was, and away he went. Dropped the bombshell, and I remember Bob Abbott. As we left, Bob Abbott was, he was
I
ranting
can
and raving.
imagine.
Oh,
I like Big Bob.
couldn't it? Oh, yeah. Well, it was funny because what he wasn't going to do, and of course he never did, and he ended up mayor.
Yes.
So I thought, oh, goodness, Bob. So we went home, and we said, well, it's all over. We had 12 months then, 12 months to get ourselves organised, form all the committees which we had to do. And there was four. There was Wandai, Mergen, Kingaroy and Nanango. And so Kingaroy and Nanango, 15 minutes apart, but they had all the infrastructure, workshop, depot, big council office, both of them. Wandai was Alan Keats. I think he'd gone by then.
Yeah.
Or was he still there?
Yeah, he had 18... Oh no, what did he... I was just trying to think now.
I'm trying to...
He had 42 years in local government. I think he was 32 as CEO of Wandai. I think he...
If he was still there, he well could have been. But his boss, David Carter, God, he ended up the mayor of the amalgamated thing. But anyway, David and I clashed from day one. A reporter must have got me saying that Mergen would be all right if it had Wandai's ratepayers. If we could just... Anyway, we were at a meeting with RW, he said, you outside. And he bailed me up and he said, who the hell do you think you are? What gives you the right to put stuff in the paper like this? He said, David, I just said what everyone else is telling me. I said, what comes naturally? Poor old Mergen needs more rates. Wandai is quite a big area,
yes.
and far more affluent and smaller town, I think.
They got lots of grant money.
Oh, they got everything. And Mergen also had the Aboriginal,
yes.
what's it called, Cherbourg.
Yeah.
So Cherbourg is only just down the road, so we had all their problems. Anyway, old David Carter. So I suppose I probably was lucky to end up with a job out of the amalgamation, and I became the director of sustainability. What did I start with? Yeah, planning. Planning. I forget now. But there were four directors. There was the engineer. And there was the finance and admin. Anyway, so away we went. Amalgamated council. Poor old Peter Angel. He went. So David became the mayor, and I was living in Mergen, but commuting to Kingaroy, and then we ended up buying a house in Kingaroy, which was our biggest mistake.
Oh, really?
Lost a fortune on that. Poor old Kingaroy real estate market. Yeah, and stayed there. Well, we're still not up to here. What happened? Yeah, David, I suppose what happened in the end, I might have been there, was it 2007, I think was the amalgamation?
Yeah,
So I must have
2008
finished
election
about-
it took effect, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
10 or 11, 2011. And then I was back here. I was actually, to fill in time, I was driving the school buses. I was a local bus driver.
Oh,
So
wow.
7 o'clock I'd be down the depot, the bus link. And I'd work from 7 till 9, and then I'd work from 2 till 4. But oh God, it's a challenge. Because I had the kids from Bell Vista to Parkland School. Half an hour of absolute.
Oh, geez, I don't think
Tell
I
you
could do
what,
it.
yeah, I don't know what was happening in the back of the bus. All I'm trying to do is just to get the bus from A to B as quick as possible. But still, it was a job, and it was sort of, and then the phone rang, and they said, Isaac Council, they're desperate. They need a director immediately. How soon can you start? I said, tomorrow. So went and resigned. I got the proper ear bashing from the manager when I written. He said, oh, you told me you were going to be with us forever. I said, yeah, well, I've had an offer from a local government and I cannot refuse it, you know, the old story. So anyway, I was wrapped. Mark Crawley, lovely man.
Mark is a lovely guy.
Oh, he's good. He was brilliant and the good people up there. So up I went to Murrumba. That was, and having worked in Capella for 18 years, Murrumba wasn't that challenging as far as environment and everything else. And it was fascinating to see I think, what did we have? We had Nebo, Claremont, Belliando, and Middlemount. The three shires are together. Huge distances. And I had governance, and I had the infrastructure, libraries. I remember I had four female managers. They were wonderful. And they spoilt me. Beautiful big flash house there. It was the best house I've ever lived in. And but you had to. It was challenging. And at that stage, I think we were right up here. It was when I left, the whole thing died. You know, the coal mining died and everything. Yeah. But still, it was great. And at that stage, it was before the elections. The elections, while I was there, the Conservatives got kicked out and Labor came in. So Labor took over. Anne Baker became the mayor, and the whole focus changed. But yeah, we had similar to South Burnett, I suppose, challenges and rewards, satisfaction. Yeah. Well, my son-in-law works for Logan, and he told me recently of a lady that went to Isaac to and I won't remember now, but he said, I was telling him about my father-in-law used to work up there, and he said, I don't know how you're going to go in Murrumba, but she must have been a single woman or something. But anyway, I think she's still there. So, fascinating thing too is that CEOs now, the different CEOs, Mark, when Labor came in up there, for some, I'd actually gone when this happened, but Mark, for some reason, left. He's now at Charters Towers, or he was at Charters Towers.
Yeah, I think he is still.
He's still there, yeah. And he's really good. But there was a problem, so they replaced him with someone who lasted 5 minutes, and they replaced him with another one. And now I think it's Ian. Is it Ian Stevenson up there? There was ex-president of LGMA from Burdekin. What was his name? He was there for a while. So, but these people, you know, they I don't know who makes the mistake of hiring them. And then they go in there and think, oh, no, this is not the job that I thought it would be, you know. A bit like Logan, where Michael is. They had Chris, the CEO. Chris Rose. Yeah. And so the new council comes along and goodbye, Chris.
Chris is an awesome CEO too.
He is. And they got rid of him, and now what happened? They get a new bloke in who lasted 5 minutes.
They got rid of John Overhart as well, and
yeah. Now they've got another bloke. Oh, actually, it happened at South Burnett. We had Tony Haywood was really good. Yeah. I got along well with him. Then they replaced him with this guy. No, freak. And you think
you do wonder, and you wonder now with. I shouldn't say this, probably sounds completely out of disrespectful, but you wonder now with the internet and Google how some of these people get employed, especially when they're paying big bucks to these expensive recruitment companies, these senior executive management recruiters. Yeah. And you think, did you even Google?
Yeah.
Because some of the people that we've had come and go at council, you go, quick Google search and you go, okay, you did your homework, didn't you?
Well, the network. I sometimes think, you know, if for instance, Gary at Rocky City Council, he wanted someone for Fitzroy River Water. He said, Gary Stevenson. He said, well, I know this bloke Peter Hackshaw. He was at Capella, so it's just word of mouth. Like, he's not too bright, and he's a bit slow, but and he's no Einstein, but he's reliable, and he'll just do what you tell him to do, and he won't wreck the place, you know. So yeah, I think a lot of that helped me after I left Capella, you know, with different jobs, and I'm sure they'd have me back at Richmond, and Betty. With Betty, oh God, it got to the stage where, you know, I'd be there in the house on a Sunday afternoon, and I get a phone call, and it was Betty. Hello, Betty, how you going? Peter, we have a major problem. Yes, Betty, what's the problem? I've just had a call from Councillor Bloggs, yes, from his house he can see the swimming pool. And Peter, he's observed that someone has thrown a ball up onto the roof of the cover part, and they're climbing up on the roof as we speak. Peter, do something about it now, please. Hang on a minute, it's Sunday afternoon. Yeah, well, obviously the council, he's not allowed, you've told us that he can't interfere. Oh, okay, so down I go, and I say, and meanwhile it's all over. What's happened here? Yeah, oh, mate, if you're going to get up on the roof, don't let that councillor that lives in that house over there see you, please, because he's just wrecked my Sunday afternoon. Or else we'd be walking past the depot, and she'd say, we'd be going to a meeting and walking, and she'd say, there's a vehicle in the depot. Oh, okay. Yep, look at it. It's not a council vehicle, right? What's it doing in the depot? Pass. Right, once you find out, let me know. I will not have private vehicles in the depot, because if we allow that, they'll put stuff in the boot and they'll steal stuff, and really, turns out it was a contractor, or it was, you know, this sort of thing. Anyway, I got to the stage where I thought, no, this is ridiculous. So I wrote out my resignation letter, and I had the council meeting, and in the council meeting, you had to stand to speak. You had to stand, and she. You're right, Peter. You don't have to. You can sit here. You're the exception, but no. So anyway, is that all the business? Yes. Is that all the business, Mr. CEO? And she said, she's right. We're all over. I said, hang on. I thought you said, well, I said, no, I've got one late item, Madam Mayor. Oh, okay. What's that? So I stood up, and I read out my letter. About a week later, my father passed away in New Zealand, and I was shattered, and I rang her and I said, oh, Betty, I said, I need my father died. Oh, wonderful. No, you do exactly what you've got to do. Away you go. Yeah, you're right, mate. And she was very good about it. So off I went. But, yeah. Anyway, I went into my office, and after I'd read my resignation letter and the meeting was closed, and I had the deputy mayor. These guys, you know, no guts. Peter, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We can't keep rolling over CEOs. Like I said, you've got your eyes open. You know, you can see the situation. Someone's got to stand up to it. Oh, there was one Lofty Went. He might even still be. He was an ex-regimental sergeant major, but he was the councillor. He was actually the. We didn't have divisions then. That's right. But he tried to stand up to. Even he couldn't match her. And, the poor guy, but anyhow says, I'm sorry, I can't. I said, you're on your own, I can't help you. Now, so that's...
And tell me about Burketown. You got to Burketown as well.
Yeah, well, what happened, when I finally came back I went to Isaac for 3 months and stayed 15.
Oh, wow.
But it got to the stage where, as I said, without Jeanette, and I thought, I'm 70 now, so this was... so that's 2012. Was Isaac. So then I came home, and I got a phone call for Burketown. But Burketown, yeah, it was a great experience. But Burketown was only like a couple of months, you know. Obviously know where Burketown is. And then home from there, and then I got Barcaldine and what's it, Aramac. So twice I went to Aramac. But I went. The first time was okay. And they brought another bloke in. I just filled in while they were getting a manager. See, in Aramac, I was like the old CEO, but they call him the executive manager. So I just sort of sat there in Aramac and looked after dogs and complaints from and the depot, and so it really wasn't very challenging. But very isolated and dry and
Yeah.
hot and Anyway, we came home. They had a new bloke. He turned out to be a proper disaster. And actually, I think he went to Longreach. So then they rang me up. Said, "Oh, could you come back?" I went back, and I found it was no good. Number one, my health. I actually put on a lot of weight. I've lost about 15 kilos with Jenny Craig. Thanks, Jenny. But I wasn't, in a good place. And I did two weeks, and I went to Des Howard, and I said, "Mate, I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to let you down." No, you're right. I said, "I'm going home, and I'm home for good. I'm retired for the last time."
Wow,
So
that was this year.
Yeah, that was this year, early this year. So I came home in May, I think, and I immediately went on to Jenny Craig. Yeah, but Aramac, Muttaburra, you had Aramac and Muttaburra. And of course, with the amalgamation out there, it hasn't gone good at all. There's a fellow out there called Gary Peoples. He's the councillor out there, but he was the mayor of Aramac. And he's a bookie. He's a nice fellow, but he's like constantly white-eating the process. In Muttaburra, the Hayden, they tried to, with Campbell Newman's offer, they tried to de-amalgamate, but Muttaburra went to Barcaldine and said, "We don't want to de-amalgamate. We love it. We bugger Aramac. We'll stick with you." So the whole thing fell over, And you'd get up and you say, the deputy mayor was from Aramac, so Muttaburra, so you'd have to be in the car and out to Muttaburra. It's about an hour and a quarter drive, I suppose. And the Sunshine Coast was looking good, mate.
Yeah.
So that's...
That's an amazing career.
Well, it has been. And to think that it was by accident. It was only that we were there on the Central Coast in New South Wales. We had to do something. We had this little deli up for sale. It was going broke. And so this job came up with the council. And at that time, I didn't know a lot about local government, but I was doing a Bachelor of Business at Mitchell College, which is now James Sturt University. Yeah. And so I switched it to local government. And I realised straight away, this is good. Local government, yes, I can get, and of course, Wyong's big, and a lot of the people in Wyong were there for life. But they said, there's other jobs around, and then a job came along at Berrigan, down in the Riverina, and so I got that one, and then Coolah, which is the Upper Hunter Valley, and I went there, and between all those jobs, I started to pick up all this local government experience, and it was really good. Yeah. Put it all together, and so by the time I went to Capella as the Deputy Shire Clerk, I had a fair bit of knowledge and experience. A little bit, my confidence might have been a bit shaky, but for instance, the day before I hadn't been there long, and the CEO, the Shire Clerk, was a bit wanting, but we had the budget put together roughly, and we had the budget meeting the next day, and I'm just finally checking it, and I thought, oh God, the 15% discount? We haven't built that in. We haven't provided for it. We've talked about it, but the figures, so all the projects and plans and all the engineers, roads that he wanted, I said to Chris, come here, look at this. Where's your 15%? It's like in 2 million, that's 300,000 or something. So I thought, what are we going to do? And there was a lady councillor who was sympathetic, she was good. I rang her, I said, Kerry, we have a major problem. Can we come out to your place? Went out that night, sorted it out. Next morning, budget meeting. Papers are a bit slow coming in, folks, but don't worry. We had some different papers. And in those days, it was just bits of paper and all that. And sort of winged our way through it and got them to resolve all the necessary resolutions. And we had our budget, and I thought, oh, God, I never want to do that again. Imagine you could get away with it in a small council, but just imagine Sunshine Coast.
Oh, I remember one year our accountant, who was this is Caloundra, a young accountant, just sort of new into the role, trying to impress. She had a decimal point in the wrong spot, I kid you not, and there were major issues with that. But yeah, they managed it.
Yeah. It's a great industry. It's funny. It's been good for us, really. Yeah. So very happy. good accident.
Yeah, good accident, and like 2 days are the same. And
Yeah, that's
what
right.
I love about it.
Yeah, you go to work, and when they say someone's out at the front counter to see you, you don't know what it's going to be about, or it could be anything. The phone rings, or the mayor. You get a call from the mayor. Well, yeah, all right, No, it's exciting. Barkey's a bit disappointing, I must say. They haven't. Dares, I don't know Dares Howard.
No.
They haven't really, like the website. I spent a bit of time looking at the websites and stuff. Barkey's hopeless. You get nothing. Sunshine Coast, it's all there. If you're an interested ratepayer or resident, everything's there for you, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting though. Communities drive that a little bit. So I wonder how much of the Barcaldine community just don't really care or
You're
aren't
dead right.
interested.
You're dead right. When I was out there, if I spoke to someone, I said, who cares about that? Why? I said, it's pretty important, No, it's not. Not to us. They got their little world, They don't, because they don't know anything else, I suppose. And if you're born and brought up in Aramac, yeah.
Were you born in Wyong? Where were you born?
New Zealand. Yeah.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
And you came. When did you come to Australia?
When I was 21, I'm the oldest of 6, so.
I'm the youngest of 6.
Well, you're the youngest, are you?
Of 6, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that amazing?
Our family originally from Orange, New South Wales.
Oh, Lindy from Orange, Menham, Lindy Menham. She's Brett works for Unity Water, but they live in Pelican Water, so that's obviously
okay.
Lindy. Orange. Orange. Well, where were we? Bathurst. Not Bathurst. What am I saying? Not Orange. Dubbo. Yeah, it was sort of our nearest big town.
Yeah.
Mudgee. Nice. Yeah.
So by accident, how you got here by accident?
Yeah.
So we know where you went.
Yeah, you know all that
Your
now.
last role was at
Acting manager, executive manager, of course, flash title, at Aramac. But that's the last sort of short-term one. The last big one would have been is Isaac. As director, they had funny names. I remember as I had governance.
Did you say sustainability?
Yeah, the sustainability was at South Burnett. Planning, planning was a challenge. I actually did the course, the LGMA course, planning course, but
So what do you enjoy doing now?
Well, not a lot. First thing to say, volunteering. No, I do no volunteering. I don't know whether I can.
I think you've done enough over your career.
I know. Yeah, actually, it's a funny thing. Every Australia Day, my wife, we Anzac Day and Australia Day. Now, in Capella, that was me. We had to organise everything, including the mayor's speech. And when I put the reference to the Aboriginal and First Australians, we'll get rid of that. We're not talking about that. I said, Mr. Mayor, yes. No. People don't want to hear me say that. That's not politically correct, But anyway, so that was Australia Day and Anzac Day was our for 18 years. The gardening, the gardening. Don't look around too hard at the garden. I'm a stamp collector, so have been all my life.
That's
and, dying hobby.
Yeah.
Australia Post don't help.
No.
So this weekend, on Saturday, I've got a Broadbeach. It's called the Broadbeach Afternoon Stamp Club. We all have our annual fair where you buy and sell and you meet your friends and everything else. Caloundra has one. So I was in the Nambour. It's called the Sunshine Coast Stamp Club at Nambour, but it's on a Thursday night or something. It was a bit challenging. So Caloundra have theirs on a Thursday afternoon up at the church.
Oh wow!
It's funny, good people, but also I'm the youngest bloke there. They're all coming in on their walking sticks and. Can't tell you what, not a lot of young people coming into that hobby.
I used to have a stamp book
Everyone's had a stamp book. Someone gave them a book and some stamps. But I think a lot of it's to do with this collecting, this phobia that people, they collect stuff, you know, and it can be dangerous too, but I just like, it's interesting.
Doesn't take up too much space.
It's actually quite a cheap hobby too.
Yeah. Role models.
Yeah, well, I suppose successful CEOs, there are more successful ones than unsuccessful ones. I don't know whether you want me to be specific.
Yeah, you got a name of someone?
Well, there was there's a fella called Rob Noble. I had a lot to do with him.
Rob Noble.
Yeah.
He was down being the interim CEO at Wyong.
Yeah, oh, was he?
Yeah, because the reason I know that's my niece worked for Wyong, and of course when Mike came up, I'm like, who have you got down there now? And she said, a fellow called Rob Noble from ex-Noosa. And I went, I know Rob.
Yeah,
He's a great CEO.
Yeah, he was. And guess what? He's been to Burketown.
Oh, has he?
I was flicking through stuff and you had Rob Noble here. Oh, he was great. He was fantastic. I said,
and Veronica, his wife.
Yeah.
Veronica.
Oh, Veronica. There. Well, he got a new wife, didn't he? Same as who else split? But yeah, Rob's he's a funny guy. We organised a conference together at Yeppoon. What's it called? The big resort there.
Oh, was it an LGMA one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to that one at Yeppoon.
Yeah. The big
Yeah,
Japanese.
it used to be Hiroshima.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That was a great conference, that one. I liked
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I remember Nev Power. I had to chair a thing where Nev Power was the speaker, presenter, and he was actually, because he came from Thierry, he's just finished up with Andrew Forrest, Twiggy, over at West Australia, so he's retired. But he was a nice fella.
Yeah.
You meet all these nice people. But role models, well, who else? Now, I saw a guy, that's right, he's just gone out to Ipswich to take over as CEO at Ipswich.
Yeah, there's lots happening at Ipswich.
Yeah.
So he's taken over from Jim.
Jim Lindsay.
Yeah.
Didn't know him, but this guy, he's been around, he's got a bit of polio. He's got a bit of a, he was at Logan too. Fantastic bloke. Very sharp, very personable too. A lot of guys.
Has he been in the industry for a long time?
Yeah, long time. He's been president, and he's been a consultant too.
I know who you're talking about. Curry?
No, not Ray Curry.
Ray Curry?
No. Anyway, very good fellow. I'm hopeless. But other role models. I don't know.
I think successful CEOs covers
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, it's a mistake to model yourself on someone who's unsuccessful.
Although you learn what not to do.
So what that's right. Yeah, this is what you shouldn't be doing. Changes. Well, state government.
Certainly the amalgamation.
Yeah, the amalgamation. That would be the biggest one, I suppose. Bureaucracy.
How did you find the change of the Act when the Act changed from the 93 Act? Were you around?
Yeah. Well, I think the early Act you had to have a qualification to be a CEO, and so I studied and I got my degree and I did everything. But now it's more. It's more management or leadership rather than management, or it's based on skills and experience and not that piece of paper.
Yeah.
But no.
And how did you find the change to all the regs that they brought in at that time regarding, your financial requirements, your corporate planning, all of that?
Yeah, challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, a lot more time, a lot more energy and effort, and
reporting.
People. Yeah. So that put pressure on local governments to provide resources that they. Yeah, and I suppose provided more transparency and you know. Mm.
How did small little councils, you know, with your Arracoons and those sorts of ones, how did they deal with those processes?
Terrible. And if they're forced to get consultants, if you've got to get a consultant in to do everything, well, you're paying a fortune for consultants, and you're having these people coming in that haven't really got they're not locals, and they're not, and you say, well, do it as quick as you can if you don't mind, because we don't want you here forever.
Yeah.
And so,
Small to even get them there.
Yeah, but even I can remember at Capella, I used to go through the environmental health officers, and the best one was, this girl was brilliant, and she was keen as mustard. She just qualified, graduated, so she came from the Gold Coast. She was a surfer. Well, you can imagine how long she lasted in Capella. She said, "Oh, Peter, I've really got to go back. I thought I knew you would. You know, you've done a magic job here. We love you, and the town loves you. She was out and about doing her job, but the call of the surf back at
the waves.
the way she went, yeah. So yes, it's finding people for the environment, for the location, and for everything else. But as far as small councils under resourced, well, the amalgamation, for instance, one that's close to heart was Mount Morgan. Now, I knew a little bit about Mount Morgan, but I knew that they were basically buggered. And then along comes the Rocky City Council amalgamation, and all of a sudden Mount Morgan had access to all this expert advice and all this assistance and everything. You could just ring up Rocky and, you know. So, really, best thing that ever happened to them, you know. All right. You've heard enough stories.
Yeah, you've given me lots of those.
As CEO, obviously, what worked for me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just be humble, patient and understanding. Hopefully no one ever accuses me of having tickets on myself or being up myself, you know. At the same time, they probably say, well, he's not the brightest light bulb in the back, but gee, who needs that, you know. So, be yourself. And well, what's yourself, mate? You haven't explained that very well.
You know, that's exactly what Alan Keith said.
Yeah.
You know, he just said, you do your thing. You just, you know, you form your judgment. You just do your thing. You just be yourself about it.
Yeah.
Don't pretend to be someone you're not. So.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I've been around enough to have observed unsuccessful CEOs or directors or managers, and you say, oh, you look and you can see it happening. You think, mate, what are you doing? You're actually on a collision course. But you know, the other thing that I was thinking before you turned up, the difference. I've got to get this right. They say, for instance, a council meeting now. Some people wait, and they wait for the council meeting, and then they get up and grandstand on a particular matter, and someone, maybe the mayor, the CEO, probably not allowed to dress councillors down, but say, mate, why did you wait for the council meeting to bring that up? You should have brought it to the CEOs, I think. And the other thing is, the next bloke that comes along, he'll go to the mayor and say, I've got a problem. Oh, mate, just write to the council. It'll come up at the next council meeting. You know, go away. You're being a nuisance. So you've got this dichotomy or whatever where you can't, whatever you do, you know. And so, because some guy, no, I'm not going to tell the CEO about that. I'm going to wait till the council meeting. I'm going to embarrass him, and it'll be in if the reporter's there. It'll be in the paper, and I'll get some credit or whatever out of it. And so, oh mate. Meanwhile, the pothole's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You know.
That's right.
Yeah. What did you have to change about yourself or your approach along the way?
You get lots of different learning opportunities.
It's a bit late in life now, isn't it? Yeah.
But you probably had different approaches every time you had a
well, you're dead right.
council.
You're so right, because especially these ones here, each council had different style, different setup, scenario, you know. So you had to be adaptable. You had to suddenly, hang on, I'm not in Biggin now, I'm in Mergen, you know, and they do things differently. But I found with myself, I learned early to plan, you know, plan well, time management, and self-discipline, I suppose, as far as if someone warns you that something's happening, we'll listen and say, okay, thanks for that, take a note and prepare yourself for it, because if you don't, it'll come crashing down. So I suppose just, self-discipline. Yep. The multifaceted nature of local government. I mean, when I went to Moranbah and they said, well, you're the director of blah blah, and you've got all these things. Well, for instance, libraries, brilliant. I had a wonderful library manager. She lived in St Lawrence, but she used to do the whole thing. And library's a piece of cake, you know. And if you governance was, because a lot of changes to governance while I was there, but I had a wonderful manager, and her and I worked together on that. There was another. Anyway, no, I suppose it was just having a grasp and feeling confident in all the different disciplines and subjects that you're responsible for, and skill at portraying credibility when deep underneath it all, you know, I really haven't got a good grasp of this, but no one will know, you know. And my memory lets me down sometimes. But and council were good if they say, Mr. CEO, we need to know about such and such. Would you mind if I brought a report back to the next meeting? No, that's fine. We can wait a month. And so you do a good report. You do a lot of research, do a good report, and they're happy. But if they expect something off the cuff and you say, well, you're only going to get what I know about it.
And the best thing?
Oh, the people. Yeah, the people, the staff. I've met some lovely people, and the people in the office at Aramac are just the best people in the world, you know. And Burketown, because they're there because they want to be. Well, some of them think they're lucky to be there, but and if you treat them, they love having you there. So you feel like family, you know. I don't mind the country, although no one else does. I've got two daughters in Brisbane, and they think, Dad, why did you keep us out in Capella all those years?
That's why they grew up good, wholesome
They did,
people.
and I said, you've got to be pleased about that. The experiences, I used to like going to conferences, meeting the people at the conferences, different places, the travel, and very interesting. Like as we said before, the variety of different stuff. You know, I used to enjoy doing the elections every 3 years it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, fun.
4. Yeah, well, I do the state and federal ones too, and I was the polling place liaison officer up at Farrer or Fisher or somewhere. I was supposed to do it for a day, so I had all the ballot papers and everything here, put them in the ute, go up, and Clive Palmer, we spent the day there, and then no good. So he demanded a recount twice. One day turned into 2 months. I ended up 2 months. And I ended up on the ABC. People in West Australia said, I saw you on TV. Yeah, we're busily, and they came in and they took a photograph. Why did he? Oh, they just walked in through the front door, and the first table they saw, bang. And so there's Peter Hackshaw on national TV.
There you go.
Yeah, and Clive Palmer. That was an experience, but that's not local government.
And I guess probably seeing so many different communities, it's seeing a little bit of things that you've made a difference in the community.
Yeah, true. No. Well, I feel Mergen. Mergen was a very intense 12 months where we sold a lot of infrastructure, and we closed down unprofitable stuff. We did a lot of good there in 12 months. And in fact, we laying the way for the amalgamation for the benefit of the South Burnett Regional Council. So that was good. Hopefully, I left Mergen in a better condition than I found it. But so that was good. Yep. Has local government changed? Yes. Definitely. Once again with the amalgamations, I suppose, and with legislation and stuff. Okay.
What advice would you give to newcomers and prospective local government CEOs? I think it's a lot harder these days for
Well, see, I'm talking small councils too,
Yeah.
and not big councils.
Yeah.
But
Contextualise that though, you know.
yeah, I suppose at Sunshine Coast, the CEO, he's got directors like whereas
A CEO
at Barkey,
A CEO at Sunny Coast, well, because I've seen such a change. I mean, I started when we were Landsborough Shire Council.
yeah, Landsborough.
So, I see the difference in the CEOs. Like we started off with John Smith. I don't know if you remember old John Smith.
Oh, John Smith.
He's a great guy, sort of the earth sort of fellow as well. And the type of CEO he was, and the type of CEO we have now, they're almost like big business managers.
Yeah.
You know, they've got to have such a good support, network in each of they've got to be able to trust their directors implicitly because they're actually running the venture for them. They're up there dealing with strategic issues and they don't spend a lot of time in the operational anymore. And I think, for me, it's completely different that any newcomer to a role of the CEO for me is you have to decide whether you're actually wanting to be the big city, the big regional type CEO or the smaller council CEOs because the roles are quite different.
Like your friend Mr. Lanane, that's kind of the hope part
and I think you have to decide what kind of CEO you want to be and then you have to sort of really focus around.
Yeah. So the advice to newcomers and prospective.
Are you ready?
Yeah, all right.
So, advice to newcomers and prospective local government CEOs. What would you suggest, Peter?
Well, I'm talking about smaller councils. My experience has been in smaller rural and regional councils, and I think it's important to remember that you're being observed by three groups of people, basically. The staff to start with, the mayor and the councillors, and of course the residents and the ratepayers. So it's remembering that you should really first and foremost be a people person. You're dealing with people, so develop good people skills, never forget the people, and always be available. I think prime requisite is to be available, and of course your career doesn't last long if you're not available for the mayor and the councillors, but at the same time it'll be dragged down if ratepayers become disillusioned and there's disharmony there. And of course the most important people we all know are the staff that you either inherit or that you build up yourself, and if you build up a good team, loyal team, and you look after them, you empower them, provide them with resources, well, you'll have an easy life as a CEO.
That's great. That's great advice. So, advice to newcomers and prospective local government CEOs. What would you suggest, Peter?
Well, I'm talking about smaller councils. My experience has been in smaller rural and regional councils, and I think it's important to remember that you're being observed by three groups of people, basically. The staff to start with, the mayor and the councillors, and of course the residents and the ratepayers. So it's remembering that you should really first and foremost be a people person. You're dealing with people, so develop good people skills, never forget the people, and always be available. I think prime requisite is to be available, and of course your career doesn't last long if you're not available for the mayor and the councillors, but at the same time it'll be dragged down if ratepayers become disillusioned and there's disharmony there. And of course the most important people we all know are the staff that you either inherit or that you build up yourself, and if you build up a good team, loyal team, and you look after them, you empower them, provide them with resources, well, you'll have an easy life as a CEO.
That's great. That's great advice. Thank you.
I probably wasn't looking at the camera the whole time.